Yay.
So I'll repeat the acknowledgement again. We begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are in land that has been inhabited by Anishinaabeg nations. We'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is traditional territory of the Sagamok Anishinaabeg, and we would like to give thanks for sharing this land. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? None being heard. I want to start this meeting by apologizing to Councillor Phillips for the outrageous behavior you had to withstand at the last meeting. Nobody should have to put up with that, and it won't happen again. There'll be a police presence at the next regular meeting, and if there's any behavior like that, the individual will leave and will not be welcome back again. So moving on, we have one item tonight, zoning bylaw amendment and trailer licensing bylaw. So we have a draft with some changes that were requested. Everybody got a chance to look at it. Comments? Start with Kaz.
Well, I'm glad that we're allowing trailers onto vacant lands, and I'm pleased that they can be used as accessory use in the rural zone. I like that. If this goes through, will the trailers that are on vacant land be issued a 911 number or what's that other?
Municipal number?
Yes.
Civic number, that's up to council to,
Really, my point is,
Up to us.
is if there's no number, there should be no trailer on that driveway, right?
And there's no identification for fire.
That's exactly, that's right. So that
I think it was through the discussions the last few years leading up to this, I think it was our intent to provide a sign, and that'll be at our cost.
so they'll get garbage pickup, or will they get like a pass key or someplace to dispose of their garbage?
I would think.
I mean, people that where curbside is available, I think we would permit that.
Like all along River Road.
Don't, that are.
Yeah.
If there's, but I mean, other places like River Valley and that, I don't, you know.
Could you do a garbage thing like they do at La Cloche? You know, I know that it's a mess at times, but have a central spot that they can bring their garbage.
So where's the closest transfer site? Because if you're looking at establishing a transfer site, that's a whole environmental.
Yeah, I know, it's a nightmare, right?
But is there one that's close enough that we could, so like say River Valley, they could go to the Webwood landfill on Sundays, and we could give them a punch card, like the ones on West Branch get.
Yeah.
People that are,
I mean, there's some we're just not gonna be able, cause who knows where they're gonna be, and they're out there by themselves. It's just not logical.
Yeah, it depends
To
on
do
the
it,
accessibility of the
But if
road.
there's a central spot, like if they're close to the Webwood, sure, like
Yeah.
they can go
yeah,
there.
we can direct them, we can
Yeah.
ask, well, where can I take my garbage, well, where are you? So, well, here's a spot,
Yeah,
that's where these people go from that area
Yeah.
and that, so yeah, we could.
because we know GFL isn't going to go around and
No.
pick up all
No.
these remote areas.
No.
We know that. That'll cost us probably
Well, we're
a
already
kidney.
paying for
Yeah.
a fuel surcharge on
Yeah.
top of our contract
For
for all the kilometers
Yeah.
calculated.
So,
they're already on an existing route.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, be different and
Yeah.
we just need to like communicate with GFL that
Yeah.
watch for new places where they may never have had garbage
Yeah.
down there, cause some people are like that.
Yeah.
I never put on garbage, they don't even slow down past my place. so.
Right.
yeah, if they're made aware of it.
Yeah, so.
On an already traveled route, there should be hopefully no issue with them, cause they're already there.
This should also stop like we discussed last night about parking on the side of the road in the wintertime, right? And hindering snow removal and garbage pickup, this should eliminate that, because there should be no, these guys with the trailers shouldn't be on the road parking and accessing their camps unless they're just doing it to check for security reasons.
Yeah,
How
Just
often?
making a statement, right?
Yeah.
How often do they have to check that when it's their trailer, do you know?
Oh, I have no idea. No clue.
I wonder if there's like, I know your cottage, you're supposed to go and check it because of insurance
you
or
mean
something.
for,
Like, cause I'm sure those trailers are, some of them are worth quite a bit of money, like you'd probably have insurance on them. I'm just wondering, it
Well-
was just a question.
put it this way, River Valley, like by my place there, I mean, that road's inaccessible in the winter, so fire protection is, you know, so I don't know.
Yeah.
They have a snow machine.
If it's seasonal, I'm not sure how that works. And it's not really insured like a home, you know what I mean?
No, but you can, I know you
Yeah, I
can
have
insure them,
insurance
but
in my travel
can
trailer.
you insure it when somebody isn't in it all the time? I don't know, but there is I know
It's
there's travel,
considered- It's considered in storage.
yeah, recreational vehicles, you can get insurance, but.
Do you wanna go over the zoning bylaw first?
Sure.
Because there's not, it's shorter and there's not as much to review on it. And I think the one thing that I did on it is I stroked out,
3B.
and I changed it to, existing lots of record for the, to allow.
Good.
We went from one recreational vehicle to two.
Yeah.
I didn't go any further with the, lots of record, vacant lots of record, as far as saying setbacks, because the next section says, such use shall comply with the setbacks for accessory use, so it deals with there. If you can't meet the setbacks, and your lot's too small, you can't put a trailer. Just like you can't build a cottage or a home or anything if the lot that is existing is too small.
Yeah.
Kind of treat everything the same.
We're gonna have a few battles there.
So if everybody's fine with that, then I can make that change officially and have that one.
Which one is that, Ann?
No, your other page.
The
Yeah.
single bylaw, the zoning bylaw amendment,
Yes,
so under G, it's got 3B.
Yeah.
Talks about lots greater than 1 hectare, stroke out the greater than 1 hectare and change it to, only permitted on vacant lots of record. So it's existing.
The 21 days.
Is that in this one?
That's not in the,
It's not in that one.
yeah.
So in the trailer licensing, the section about 21 days, stroke that out.
So you want
It is
that one?
broke out, yeah.
In there?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
you got it.
Here,
Oh, yeah,
No,
1.26.
yeah, 3.1.1.
3,
It's dented in this way, but, yeah,
Okay,
stroked out.
okay. So what is this one?
Those are the definitions.
Oh, okay.
So I see trailers is plural, that means there's no charge for trailer one or trailer two,
well,
right?
what does it say in the,
I don't know.
where it talks about the license fees?
Okay, that's in 4.
Or
I think each trailer needs to be licensed. right? That's how I'm kind of understanding it.
And that was the intent originally, I mean, I haven't changed anything other than done the strikeouts.
Yeah, per trailer, but I think what Kaz is asking is trailers on a lot with a
With a primary residence,
with a primary residence.
Oh,
not a vacant lot.
Oh, I think with the primary, I thought it was only one.
I thought so too,
You're allowed one,
yeah,
With the primary.
and
with
then
no restriction.
with no restriction, if you want someone to come and have, then you have to apply for the permit for the second one.
so are you saying if it said a trailer located on a primary residential use would be more easy to understand? Cause you're looking at trailers as it being a plural rather than the use.
Trailers means two, but I would think the first one should be free.
First one's free,
The
yeah.
second one should be, pay a trailer fee after the 21 days.
Yeah,
Like, most people I know only have one trailer,
Yeah.
and my kids don't wanna come and see me for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Temporary
That's why it's
habitation beyond
without
21
a
days.
license, yeah, so it's, yeah.
Actually, what you're saying is take that strikeout off of that, basically. Temporary habitation beyond 21 days is not permitted without obtaining a license, so if you're gonna stay more than 21 days, the second trailer would have to have a license.
yes,
And I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But you own the property, so if you wanna have your zone use it for accessory use, and it's no problem. Second one, well, after 21 days,
I agree with that.
because we're adding services that we have to pay for, so.
yes.
First one free, the second one you pay.
Yeah. So that one that word stroke out there, and we
Put it back
put
in.
it back in.
That would apply to the second
That applied to
trailer.
the second one.
Yeah, the first trailer's free, second
Yeah.
trailer gotta
Okay, so I
get
think we need to separate the two.
Yeah,
because-
split it up again.
Yeah, you may wanna do something different, but
Clarify that.
clarify, just so the second one that they're gonna
Simpler
have to pay
to
for.
see.
So what added services are you thinking,
Well, if they're gonna be in there, they're gonna have,
The water.
you're gonna have water, you're gonna have garbage services pickup, you're gonna, well, all the toys that go along with it, the fire and,
Roads,
the roads,
setbacks.
you're gonna pay that, somebody's gotta pay for that. Or if you're only there for 21 days, don't worry about it.
yeah, that's reasonable, if they're 21 days, I'm sure,
Hmm?
second trailer.
Yeah.
That's reasonable, 21 days for a second trailer without a
Yeah.
fee.
Then after that, the fees will be applicable.
I don't think anybody would be spending more than 3 weeks. or
3
something.
No,
weeks.
no,
We only have an 8-week summer.
We already had it.
It's over.
I
so,
just had a comment about, some people are confused about, like, some places it says recreational vehicle, but some places it doesn't, so when it, like at the top of the bylaw, it says trailer licensing bylaw, but it's not
Should-
saying recreational.
Should we change it to recreational vehicle? Because
That's what
I
I'm
just had this
thinking,
conversation
yeah.
with someone from another municipality.
Because they are,
Said,
some
Stop calling
people,
it trailer
Could be a
park,
motorhome.
it's a recreational vehicle.
or
Yeah.
people, I think originally this had something to do with house trailers. And they
Oh, that's
didn't,
right.
you know, like Espanola at one time, they didn't want you moving
Yes,
house trailers
yes.
in.
well,
Because the
Back in the day,
definition.
but I just thought we should
Definition
clarify
finds it
that
well.
more in
Good
the
point.
naming.
Yep,
It's like recreational
Reuse the
vehicle
same
or
name.
yeah.
yeah,
Licensing
so all
bylaw.
references to trailer
Yeah.
Be changed to recreational vehicle.
Good point, good
That's
point.
my,
I like that.
Same language throughout the whole thing.
because it switches language, and I think some people are confused about what we're talking about when we're talking about trailer.
You don't need the book.
But it's defined down in
It's just
2.6, right? It's defined
Yeah.
down there what a recreational vehicle
Yeah, it
is.
is.
But if you have the word
It's
there,
already
it's not a
this
big
one.
deal if you change
Okay,
it.
this
Yeah.
part
Yeah,
That's-
no,
Okay.
I agree, it's kinda already
So
there,
we're kind of odd is saying.
it's
that-
just,
just clarifying it, that's all.
Yeah.
Because to your
Two
point,
point eight says trailer shall have the same definition of
Yeah.
recreation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just have it all the same.
just using the same word, that helps, yeah.
It does, yeah.
So on this single sheet, Marianne, she made the changes under G3B, so the 3. Yeah.
so just the strikeout of the 1 hectare to existing lots of record.
Okay.
So if it's existing, you can meet the setbacks.
That's
Yeah.
one of the notes I have written on my sheet, yeah. Yeah, I have it, yeah.
Been down that road, eh?
Yeah.
You haven't missed much, we had some technical difficulties starting, so.
I think that's the only thing we actually,
I think that's the end
Wiped
of
off.
yeah.
Here would be the question on that one. If it's a lot where there's an existing residence on there, and that lot doesn't allow for the full 100 feet because
They can't meet the setback.
so that means that they can't bring their own trailer there?
Well, it's kinda like your property, you'd be able to drag your trailer all over the place, but
Because we're saying you're allowed your own trailer as an accessory use. And it is a residential property, and it does meet, it's not gonna happen very often, but it's there. And they're gonna say, well, hey, I'm paying residential taxes, I just need an accessory use, I can only get 99 feet,
yeah.
that's all I've got.
Well,
It's kinda like,
accessory use has a 15-meter setback from water. I mean, within a residential, so if you're not on water, then it's not a 30-meter, right? If you're in town or not, or if you're in rural,
I'm thinking Cutler Lake, for example,
yeah, but if it's on the water,
lots.
then,
those lots at Cutler Lake, for example, they're close to the water.
yeah.
And the residential lots. I know, like, for tile beds and this kind of, there's different things where there is special dispensation if it's an existing. They've lowered the setbacks and because it's an existing, and this is definitely, in a case like that, it may never come up.
And I would think that you could kind of determine, like, so they're going to use the system within the trailer, they're not hooking it to, like, I mean, they're not having to hook it to something in the ground, like, so it's gonna stay self-contained, so yeah, like,
It's just
they
accessory
don't
use.
need the
It's
same kind
it's
of,
accessory use.
Yeah.
And, because right now we're saying
A
that the trailer can't be
homeowner
there.
is not gonna be dumping.
No, they're not. It's just to clear the
You know,
muddy waters, so they get,
of course, they're not gonna need it, so we wouldn't know, right? Because if they have a main use, and they can bring a trailer
yeah,
in,
then we wouldn't, they're not gonna come to
they
us
don't have to
anyway.
come and ask
Yeah.
us, so they've gotta be sure
Yeah,
that
that's,
As long as they
they're.
don't
that's
get-
kind of confused.
Don't get our community police, policing
Yeah.
coming, that's all.
do you wanna go over your, unless, Kaz, do you have more?
Like more of these?
No, just more things, cause then we can bounce back, since we're next.
Not right now.
well, I think we were going over the whole.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty well going.
So just in case Mary Ann, just be, the one in the trailer, or the RV licensing, section 3, when we stroked out the 21 day period, so that if you're with a primary residence, there's no limit.
Okay,
And then there was just talk about if you had a second trailer, they would need a license.
After 21 days.
yeah,
So some of you had 2 and they were staying for more than,
more than the 21 days,
21?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that would clear that one up.
Going down to 3.5, I'll just go over the spots that I did
Yeah.
strike out, so it's
Yeah.
just, and if there's anything else.
Yeah.
So under accessory struck, 3.5, I stroked out and 1 generator because from talk that I heard that a lot of trailers have them built in, so, they're only, so then I took out the generator part, but generators are permitted because 3.5.1 says generators are permitted in conjunction with the trailer's license through this bylaw, and then blah, 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 whatever they have to do to
Yes.
operate. So it kind of adds
Covers
it
it.
there,
Mhm.
but, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the trailer couldn't be attached to the trailer, but if it's part of the trailer, yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to.
Mhm.
So that was that section, and then I think the next, I don't think I did anything else until I got to the fees that we could hush. Oh, sorry, I did, under deck, deck and shed, I actually did the wrong one, I meant to do shed and not deck.
So I looked at it.
Yeah, I meant to leave deck at 10 square meters, but shed to 15, which is under the building code now, a structure under 15 square meters does not require a permit.
What section?
So 325,
Thank you.
A and B, so,
There we go.
I mean, I stroked out the 10 in deck, but I meant to leave that as 10,
So deck
10
is,
square meters, 100 square feet for a deck,
so deck
but the
stays
shed
at
to
10,
be 15 square
and
meters.
shed is 15.
Okay. So that's changed.
Yeah, that just changed about a year ago, so you can build a little bit bigger without a permit.
So in feet, that would give us, the other, used to be 10 by 10, now
Yeah, it works out, it's about 10 by
10 by-
16.
it's
Yeah.
10 by 16?
160, it's 160,
160 square
1
feet?
point
Okay.
something square
Yeah.
feet if you convert it. So,
For a shed, yeah.
for a shed, so it's fair
It's
size.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
good, that's good.
10 by 16, that's great.
13 by 13.
But yeah.
Yeah.
160 square feet, good.
So that was really the other change I made, so if there's anything else that council wants to, and the other thing, Mary Ann, I circulated from Sarah Barrow, I'd gotten a little bit of sort of clarification on some of the points that people were talking about potable water. And it's more of a checklist for people just to be mindful, it's like a flag for them to say, oh, I'm going to a trailer for 2 or 3 weeks, where am I getting my water? So it's not a requirement of, health, public health or building, but it is something for them, to trigger them to acknowledge that they thought of it.
Okay.
And then there were some other things in that memo from her that just kind of talked about the grandfather, that there's some misconception on what is grandfather and what isn't. And,
That was on my.
yeah, so there's, it's quite she gave quite a bit of information, and that also gives, just where council's authority for right of entry for inspection and where all that comes from, so.
Yeah.
Those sections of that, that's a handy little thing to keep on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So other than that, it's the fee.
Well, yeah, so if you wanna talk to me, I'll just let you know any of the sections.
So what's the feeling? My feeling was $400 annually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, but that, it has to be an
Definitely
annual
not
fee,
7.
because expenses are gonna go on annual.
Annually,
You
right?
can't give a 25-year free garbage pickup, somebody's got to pay for it, or somebody's gotta cover the expenses.
And I think it, like, for consistency too with, in terms of other municipalities, right? I think it's good to have a similar, yearly fee. At first I had thought, well, you know, it'd be nice if they were like the one-time fee, but then a renewal fee. Like, I wasn't for a freebie. But, then, you know, looking at all the other bylaws again and stuff, and I thought, yeah, $400 annually. Yeah.
I agree, 400 annually, and I put down renewal by the new council, so like for our term, we would stick with the 400.
Okay.
But we have no control over garbage, the price of garbage 4 years from now, or, you know what I'm saying, of services.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I think all bylaws end up, well, almost being re-examined at some point, yeah, as part of the budgetary process, almost, or change in government regulations too, so.
I had thought, here was just a thought, our tax base and mill rate, whatever, it goes up because of our costs. And whatever the percentage would be for taxes to go up, that reflects everything, and I would feel is it possible these permits could follow that?
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to lock it in.
Because the costs are gonna go up.
That
and
has
whatever-
to be at council's discretion.
To me, whatever tax was go up, these permits should, because they're basically, you're paying on taxes on a piece of land, you're getting the same services, so it's costing. And somebody in the municipality is gonna have to pay it if you don't. And I'm hearing this from a lot of people, hey, don't you set us up with a bunch of, bills that we don't wanna be paying. So, I mean, it's only right. It's
So
only fair.
what, 3% on $400 is $12.
Next year, it'll be up $12, if it just follows the tax increase.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'm not in favor of annual fees, never was from the start. I don't mind the initial setup. It's just hard to prove that you know, somebody's property could double in taxes, right? Some people pay $400, some people, yeah, there's some, I talked to one guy who's got 160 acres, it's way back in the bush, it's not on the road, he has to take a secondary road in, so he won't get garbage pickup. He's not gonna he gets no services, zero services, not even an access road. I can't justify, you know, having an annual fee of $400 a year and then increase it every time we get a tax increase. Because that tax increase is gonna be double on a vacant landowner, so if I had a vacant lot, my taxes go up 3%, so I'm paying 3% on that, then I'm paying 3% again on this annual fee.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, we're
If you
talking.
had a building on that land, you'd be
Yeah, but-
taxed more heavily.
Absolutely, because the way the tax system is, right, you're assessed on your fair market value, and
Yeah.
we set the mill rate. But the issue that I know people are looking at, well, a trailer is not an accessible piece of property, so it's not gonna increase your value. Well, that's the way the system is, I just think it's unfair, like, we're looking at residential people, business, and then we're looking at RVs going after RVs. I don't think that's fair, and it's just wondering, what are they getting for that $400 a year? A lot of people aren't gonna get any service. So, you know, and the other thing, I know we talked about going to inspect for sewage and et cetera, but are we gonna start opening that to old camps that are down? Is that gonna open a whole new can of worms there? Cause if I was an RV owner, I said, what about, and for example, like at our last meeting, we had, well, at the arena, not the last meeting, there was a lady that stood up and she said, like, you know, we have an old camp, and we don't even have plumbing, so what are they doing with their sewage, right? And what are some of these old camps doing too? Like, I mean, should we start opening that can of worms and start charging current camp owners fees for the inspector to go in, make sure your field, what about some old camps might just have an old, God knows what they have for a septic system, right? Camps that are 50, 60, 70 years old,
Never mind camps, homes.
and homes too, do we wanna open that can of
Which
worms?
is a totally different.
That's subject to
Yeah.
discussion, that's not our issue.
That's what
Correct,
I
but we're
was-
talking about
yeah.
RV owners, and what are they doing with their sewage
Yeah.
and gray water, right? So you can't,
And then,
you know, take one person, group, and then just take the other group. If, you know, regardless how gray water sewage is getting in your waterway, whether it's a camp that's under, or an RV, it's still a concern. Everybody I've talked to, like, I've only had like 3 people complain, I'm meeting with someone tomorrow, and you know, we're talking about trying to enforce this. I'm not confident we're gonna have any enforcement, we can't even enforce our property standards, et cetera, in town. I'm trying to help a lady out, that's 5 years now battling with a neighbor, I've seen the place, it's unsightly, loud music all the time. I'm not confident, I know we're saying, you know, we'll pay this every year, and then you're gonna get this, that, and the other service, you know, there's not gonna be any enforcement. How is he gonna enforce that?
Building inspectors volunteered.
Well, yeah, and that's, I don't know, like, we're saying we got like 400 trailers.
Part of the fee will be for enforcement.
Absolutely, and I agree with that on the initial setup, right? We don't go inspect everybody's residential property every year to make sure they got safe potable water, we're making sure we're
No,
checking.
and I
their
don't
bed.
think we'll even get a quarter of them done this
Yeah.
year. It's
Right.
gonna be an ongoing thing. At last count, apparently Bobby Mayu went out counting and there's like 400 plus trailers in that township.
So, you know, the other thing too.
Don't quote me
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah,
but
I've heard
that's-
between
Yeah.
100 and 400, and some
Yeah.
people say 250, 300, nobody knows, like, it's a shot
So,
in the dark.
so it's gonna be an ongoing thing, there's no doubt about it.
Right, and I think that's where the initial setup, the initial fee, you know, we propose $400 per trailer. If there's 400, it's $160,000 there. I think that's gonna well cover the building inspector's time to go out and check these trailers out. So, you know, I really like when we talked option 1 last time, it was option 1 was about having a initial setup fee, no annual fees. And you know, like if you got 2 trailers on there, then it's like $800 a year. Every year, $800 in your property, you know, if I did that on our vacant piece of land, I pay $600 a year, so now my taxes would go up, not that I'm gonna put RVs on it, but then it would go up another $800 to $1,400 a year, for what added service am I getting?
Yeah, but if there was a building on that land.
But a lot of
that's
people,
different.
so what about people who, you know, most people I think that have these vacant lots that live seasonal in the summer on their trailers have a residence, whether it's within the township or it's outside the
I think
township.
a lot of it
So-
is in the township.
So to suggest that, well, we're gonna keep putting a fee on you until you build a house, you're not gonna build a second house in this lot, that's just an occasional place to go.
And so, all the more reason for the fee.
But they're not getting added service. That's the thing, I would like someone, anybody here to try and justify and say, what added service are they gonna get for $400 a year? You can't.
I can argue that with you, Mike. Sure. Okay, now, you're talking about the taxes that are on the property. These trailers are, we're not talking about a trailer that's owned by the property owner. We're talking about somebody else that's putting an additional unit on. So, that has nothing to do with the property taxes that are on that property. That's irrelevant. This is a fee for that person to come there and set up his trailer, and we're gonna provide a service, and we're gonna provide the service for, it could be for a lot of years. So they should have to pay for their services. You're out to lunch on this tax, property tax, you think, because the trailer owner does not pay that property tax.
Necessarily.
No. This is, the trailer owner pays for his own specific unit lot. So that's right, so you're out to lunch on that.
So explain that further, explain that to me. So you own a piece of property, and you're gonna put a trailer on, so you're okay with paying $400 a year on top of your taxes?
If you own the property, if you own the property and if you have like a residence on it.
Yeah, that's
No
different though,
residence.
that's
No
different
residence.
though. I'm
Yeah.
talking a vacant lot with no
Vacant,
residence
no
on it.
residence.
Where people have purchased a vacant lot
Yes,
to set up a trailer.
correct, so they're gonna have to pay $400 a year. I'm not convinced there's any way you can justify saying $400 a year and you're gonna get $400 worth added service, you're not getting that.
So maybe I can put a little perspective on it. So they have brought a house and put it there
Yeah.
to use like anybody else.
Yeah.
They've
But they're not
created
paying
a
tax on it.
residence.
They're not paying taxes on the trailer,
Right, if you
Correct.
put a house the same size, you'd pay property tax.
correct,
So what's the difference then? They've put a house there,
yeah,
happens to have wheels, but they're gonna do everything that somebody that built a camp can do. They're gonna stay there, they're gonna sleep there, they're gonna cook in it, they're gonna have a
Travel the
shower.
roads.
They're, you know what I mean? They're using it as their camp,
residence.
but they're
right.
found a loophole instead of paying for building permit and they know that they're not gonna pay property tax. So I'll screw the system, put this camper here, I get to enjoy, I can travel the road, I can do, and I can fish, I can hunt, I can come and go as I please, just like if the guy next door that has the same size but an actual building, he's
Yeah.
paying property tax and I'm getting away with it because I brought a mobile building.
So what is the vacant land taxes used for then? So if some people are paying $2,400 a year for a lot, so where does that money go when they pay that money?
Those are lots that have lake frontage.
Correct.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's fine, so, and some people are paying $800 a year on this stuff that's not lakefront.
Not lake frontage, yes.
But we
So-
don't make those prices.
I agree, yes, but where is that money going to when I come in and pay, if I have a vacant lot and I pay my $700 or $800 a year and I bring my tax money in, I pay that on a lot, so where does that money go to?
I think the difference
school
though
board?
is that vacant
Everything.
lot with nothing
I
is not,
understand.
it's not being used, like, right, it's just,
Right.
it's sitting there, so yeah, like, I pay taxes on some vacant land too.
Yeah.
I don't, it doesn't benefit me in any way, but
Okay,
that's the Assessment Act and that's the
Yeah.
legislation that everybody pays a share
correct,
that
yeah,
owns land,
and
so,
nobody's arguing
and it
that.
goes to, no.
So then all of a sudden, if I put a trailer on there, and I
You
wanna
put a
stay
house.
part of the summer.
You're starting to
we're-
use
we're
it.
talking-
Yeah, that's increased.
So what, I'm using the property, so
Yes.
what is the increased services then?
Well, maybe that was a
Well,
good use of
you're
words.
using the roads more.
Well,
There's the possibility of using
But you're-
fire protection or police protection. It's there, man.
that's a stretch.
You're
Using the road
You've
more?
created a
What about
residence.
people who don't even live in this township and they drive up and down our roads? Are we,
Well-
you know what I mean, like,
Well,
No.
this is,
No.
no,
Look
sorry
at it this
Cheryl,
way.
but that doesn't
Look
make
at it
sense
this
to me.
way. If someone has a vacant lot, are they gonna go there every day? All summer long? I don't think so.
No, so what do
they're
they
not
do?
using
So
the roads.
what I'm saying is, where is the added cost to the township for someone to go and put a trailer? You're not paying for water, you're not paying any service in town, they have no, most places won't even have hydro, right? So all of a sudden, I'm paying my fair share in this vacant piece of land,
Right.
I'm getting my road plowed, now all of a sudden I put a trailer on, well, now your taxes are gonna go up $400 a year basically. This licensing fee is just a tax. I don't care which way you slice it.
It's comparable to a building tax.
Yeah, so what services am I getting if I put a trailer on my vacant lot?
The
Same
same
services
services
as
as a guy with a camp would.
Same as a camp.
Eating.
I
Okay,
think
that's a stretch.
that's I think that the way you clarified it
Yes, it is.
is, I think maybe the license fee is being seen as catching up for those that have already had that trailer there for 15 years. And then next door to the camp, and they haven't been paying that extra, but the roads, and using the garbage pickups perhaps, like I can only use examples,
No, I understand.
those are the examples I know of personally, and I've seen them with my own eyes, is like, I've seen trailers that got set up, they found that loophole and they figured it out unbeknownst to me, and they put out garbage, so it wasn't maybe added features, added bonus, but been doing it, or hauling their garbage away, but definitely road usage, and after taking all that water training, like, we better have a kitty after that water training today, because you never know, right, Kat? Like Kat was there, Miriam was, like, we learned a lot at that water training, and I think that it's like, not always added service for just me and my spot of land, but you're contributing to the overall safety, health of, and everybody in the area. But I like the example of how Ann really explained that. It's a camp on wheels. So if I have a camp on wheels and you have a camp, why should you be paying more for your camp? In effect,
As soon as you move an RV
because
there.
you know what I mean, like, cause that's not fair either, cause you've got
Well-
a camp, and what if it's real basic, and it's
It is.
really beautifully rustic, but fully functional, you're paying more than me, cause I figured out a loophole, like, that's not fair for you either.
Well, those are the rules, those are the tax rules, right? So if you have a
Yeah.
permanent structure, you pay on it.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a loophole of going around, well, if we can't assess them for that mobile home, well, we're gonna go after you and gonna put a licensing fee on you.
Yeah.
This is why we.
That to me just is not kosher, that's just another grab, straight up.
According to this,
It's equal treatment.
No, it's not
treatment.
equal
Yes, it is.
treatment, because it's not an accessible structure. Sorry to say, if they build a house on there eventually, then yeah, tax them, and we won't have a problem with that.
can I read the zoning bylaw
Yeah.
from Gail Richards?
Yeah.
We all got this.
Yeah.
It says the zoning bylaw for the township from 2020 regulates the use of RVs in section 4.26.4. It goes on to say that based on the current zoning framework and definitions, RVs are permitted use in the following residential zones: R1, R2, RR, and MHP, which is mobile home park. This is as storage use and accessory use only, where another structure or use must be the primary use for the lot. The bylaw is clear in providing performance standards in how and where RVs can be stored on a residential lot, including setbacks, specified yards, and quantity. And then in italics, it says, no lot in any other zone shall be used for the storage or use of a recreation vehicle unless otherwise listed as a permitted use in the zone. The bylaw provides no permissions for the use of an RV for temporary habitation outside of a campground. Specifically, there are no permissions for temporary habitation in section 4.26.4, either on a lot in a residential zone where such an RV is permitted to be stored, or on vacant lands where such storage and use is prohibited. So the $400, if you don't wanna pay, you don't go. If you wanna pay, you can use your land, you can move a trailer there. That's what I read. And this is done by a planner, architect, and engineers. And they took our, official plan and deciphered it for us. Just saying, I just read.
So what do you say about people, again, that aren't even on our road, who have a lot in the middle of the bush, literally? What services are you giving them? There's an old crappy road, Bucky, and you know which one it is too, it's up Seldon Road, you go down to where Graham is, the old Massey Mine Road. You can't drive up there unless you got a four-wheel drive. So what services are they getting for their taxes? First of all, even just talking about taxes on their land, $500 a year this guy pays. He has nothing on it, it's just a bush lot, he goes there to hunt and whatever. He doesn't have any road allowance, he's not getting garbage pickup, there's no services. So now we're gonna throw another $400 on top of that if he wants to put an RV there to spend a couple weekends.
So the
If he wants
property
to
is
put an
landlocked.
RV there.
Yes, but that's the thing though, so if he chooses to put one there, and there's, I'm sure there's a lot of other property owners that are nowhere near being
Has no
on
frontage.
one of our maintained roads.
As an unmaintained township road.
So you
access.
can't drive up that road.
Okay.
I mean, there's.
I got lots that you can't drive to either.
Yes.
He's using Sables-Spanish road.
I don't have a trailer on it.
And he can bring his garbage to, or
for the dump and pay his tipping fee. And what are we gonna just start limiting? We're gonna have a toll gate at Seventeen Road, say, do you live up here? No, okay, you can't come up here? That's ridiculous to suggest that.
No.
Well, it is,
You're
absolutely.
misinterpreting.
No, that's ridiculous.
I
No.
think,
Sorry.
in my mind, there's a fee for everything nowadays, first of all. And this is only, we're not going to go chasing people down the road. We are hoping they are honest enough to come in and apply, because we are supposed to be stewards of our township. And all these people moving in, and I'm not saying all the RV people are bad, because I know a lot of them, and it's good. It's the ones, just like everything else, the one bad apple. And we don't want our Spanish River frigged up, we don't want the Sables River frigged up, or Sable, however you wanna say it, or any of our lakes that are around. And the people have to realize that, and we have to keep an eye on things and make sure things aren't going awry, cause we're responsible for our whole township. Whether it's a trailer on an empty lot, or whether it's a trailer in your driveway, or whether it's your house, and I know there's some messes around, yeah, sure. And we're not gonna get them all, because the legal wheels turn really slow,
5 years?
right? Well,
It's ridiculous.
I know, I have some right in my own backyard. But anyway, I'm just saying, we're supposed to be stewards for the township, so we have to know what's going on in the township.
I agree.
Yeah, we
And
can't.
why
just
shouldn't
go
they,
up our
why
alleys.
shouldn't they pay a fee? They're gonna pay a fee to stay in a trailer park, they're gonna
That's
pay a fee.
different,
No,
though.
it's
They're
not
paying
different.
for their land.
Yeah.
They're paying their land taxes.
Yeah.
They're paying a fee.
Yeah,
So they can't go and enjoy their property.
they can go and enjoy their
Well,
property.
no,
You're not
unless-
telling me $400 is gonna break them, Mike.
Yeah.
There
Oh,
is
boy,
no
Kidding,
way.
if you can afford a chunk of land
Oh.
for recreational purposes.
Well,
Well,
Sure,
it's not that, I'm just
Isn't
saying
gonna
the
make you a break.
$400, it will barely cover the building inspector's time to go out.
I agree.
Really?
Yeah, really,
Okay.
because, yeah.
So why don't we rewrite the rules? Probably be cheaper for them to just assess whatever their RV is, but you can't. So now we're looking at another way of going around to get into the pocket.
Yeah,
And you're
because
giving
it's
nothing in return.
Because
And
in
I-
some cases, it's becoming an issue, so we
Yes,
have to
deal
police
with
it.
Yes,
We have to be
absolutely.
people's
But we
conscience.
have a bylaw officer in place. The person I'm meeting with tomorrow,
That's not to, no, it's not
This
to
is
do with
not
the
about
bylaw.
going after the bylaw.
we got property standards that need to be enforced.
That's not
We
the
got noise
question.
complaints. Those are the two big things right now,
Yeah,
right?
but that's not what this is about.
It's not just about me.
I know, but I'm saying is that what are they getting for that $400? We keep going
They're
back.
getting permission to
Yeah.
set their trailer up on the property,
And
which
spend-
isn't allowed under a zoning bylaw.
Just
right
like every other municipality in the North Shore.
I keep
And
hearing
I
that
might say that our rate.
it's
is
not the
much
same as every municipality. Go to
Well,
Spanish and talk
now.
Spanish.
Spanish is
That's-
just
Well,
using their
Spanish-
zoning bylaw.
Talk to Manitoulin, talk to
Yeah,
Spanish
French
but
River.
doesn't mean we gotta do.
French River's banned them.
Yeah.
So-
Because
you
they're
know.
abusing, especially the water system, which
Yeah.
Edie can speak to. She
So are we
doesn't
gonna look
know.
at camps too? Like I said, the one lady
Sure.
said they don't even have plumbing.
They
Do we
have
wanna open that can of worms to everybody
I'm
who's
just
on a
saying,
lake?
if it
or a
comes to
river,
our
Then
attention,
we,
then we should deal with it.
well, let's deal with it the same way with RV owners. Then when it comes to our attention that there's an issue with the
But
sewage,
they don't,
then you.
they're
you
not
do
even
it.
allowed right now, Mike, they shouldn't even
I
have the
know, they're
RVs
breaking
there.
But we're
the law.
trying.
So they're already breaking the law. We're just trying to make it so everybody's on the same page.
These would be classed as like new developments. When a new one comes in, it's like a new one coming in. And anyone building a new camp or a new whatever has to follow the same rules. So you know what, we're only treating people equally fair.
Edie?
I don't agree.
I'm thinking, like, when you talk about the man with his private hunting ground and he's going in doing only pretty much that, he would almost be under the 21-day law
Yeah.
because he's not inhabiting. So I think with a lot of a lot of ours is going to be education of who do you need to do, well, no, I'm going up for the weekend to do the deer hunt. He's not gonna be, he's not one of the ones to do the license, so I think that educating and us knowing how to decipher and say, okay, come sit and I'll go over it with you. I understand your angst on that. and saying, do we really wanna open that can of worms after the training today? I think the can of worms is going to be forced on us with regards to the water. I had no idea. It was a big eye opener, and I really had no idea. And that's, you know, and I think that, again, I think you explained it well with the loophole for that. And I believe that trailers do follow under a luxury item. They're not a necessity item, so as much as we wanna keep costs down, and we also have our strategic plan of growth to look towards, that do we wanna have 400 trailers? Or if somebody gets, you know, like at the last meeting when somebody got pissed off and said, fine, I'll sell my property. Cool, I'll buy it and build a house. Cause right now, I can't find land to purchase that's in certain size lots too. So it kind of would feed into this. It is gonna create a mix-up, but we also have to keep the strategic plan of growth in here. If we have 400 trailer lots, maybe they won't all be camps and homes, maybe they won't, but maybe a percentage of them would be, and then we have more bodies and.
Well, and that's something we have to consider as well, is putting a cap on this. Cause I don't want any more, if we got 400 trailers in the township, I don't really want any more. We need to make
Well,
land
you know, when you're going
available
with the
for
range
people
of
that want.
150 to 400, that's a lot of property. If the minimum one has to be that many acres, like that is a lot of property that isn't being maximized.
Well, that number's gonna go down though, cause there's some trailer parks out there, believe me.
Right.
So what does, I have a question, but what about the trailer park in between Maple and Cutler? What does that do
Is it
for the
private?
lakeside capacity question that I raised?
Yeah, we have to
You
do
know,
the lakeside capacity.
just asking.
Didn't they say, the M&R, is that Crown Land where they're putting more trailers?
No, they were looking,
No,
somebody
that was
thought
all-
they were
that
looking
was
at
all
buying it.
McKnight land, most of them
Yeah.
are McKnights or relatives of the McKnights.
So they're all setting up their own trailer
Well, a
as a
lot of them
camp?
have been there for many, many years, but there's been a few.
Again, it comes back to water,
Last
right?
few
We gotta protect our water sources because it's getting.
Then you have the guy at Moose Lake, he's never gonna satisfy, like frontage rules, you know, and he's been there for a long time, but whatever. Marianne?
I just wanted to say, one point that to go with imposing, when we're imposing a fee and, implementing a new bylaw, I think we need to also be looking at how we can encourage the development, encourage, you know, to build
Yeah,
instead of parking your trailer.
yeah.
Yes.
Like,
How
is
do we do that?
Is it something like, okay, you know, you've had your trailer, you've been buying your license for 3 years, and, you know, you're going to build your cottage or your home or whatever, do we give you a rebate from that? Is there some way to do that, or, like
To
an idea of how,
Okay, I
how
see
we-
what you're saying.
Yeah,
going,
like
yeah.
how can we,
You're talking an incentive.
yeah.
Incentive to build a
yeah.
place.
And I just want, I want to keep that in mind
And I think,
That should be
to
thought of.
figure it out.
because I think to be realistic too, I don't think building is it's not going to occur soon with the costs, because you know, the
Building
costs
materials.
is so high that we're going to see trailers
But again,
for a while.
well, but again,
Because-
though, there's people that are relocating here from the cities and whatnot, and they want land.
They don't see the costs.
They
the
won't, no,
same
they're
as
here to
us.
build homes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
I agree with that, but I mean, what about people who already have a home? Like, these people from the cities, lots have come up, right?
Yeah.
They sell their house for $1 million, $2 million, come up here and build a place for $500,000,
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
a retirement.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not the norm, right?
Well,
Most people have the
We've had more
property here.
building permits issued here in the last 2 years than we have in a long, long time.
and
But
more
look
than
at all the
area,
vacant land
too.
that we have with trailers on, right? Up to 400, that's a lot of land.
That's a lot of
These
land.
people own other homes, obviously, because they're not living there all year round.
Yeah.
So, to suggest that they're going to build another house so they can avoid.
No, I don't think, I don't expect that.
But that's what's in our
But that's
long-term
that's
plan.
where.
Long
Right, wow.
To encourage them to grow a camp.
And I'm not saying they will, I'm not saying
We
they
have to
won't,
encourage
but
tax base increase.
Yeah. And I like, yeah,
Definitely.
to like,
We have to encourage tax-based income,
Right,
and that's
somebody who
the
builds
way to do
a
it.
duplex or, you know, something
Look
that
at the price of
is-
somebody's trailers.
accommodates seniors.
I checked it out, holy my God.
Then they find out.
Incentive to that.
You
Almost
can buy
anything.
one of those houses that they're cheaper than somebody just bought a new fifth wheel. They
Well, I
can-
just looked at Beaver Home Packages today,
And those houses
and
are
you can
massive.
build a Beaver Home Package, which is everything except the
Mhm.
color you want. They've got them as low as 60,000.
Oh, really?
If you can build it, you
Yeah.
can get the
Yeah.
whole package, and then you go with the fancier one,
Mhm.
so there's ways that maybe people aren't thinking, people are used to hiring contractors or spending all that, but you can. So, you know, if people start thinking outside the box and they have that encouragement, okay, I got a small parcel, you know what, for 58 grand, I can put a camp on that. What's my taxes gonna cost me if I put a camp on it? They might come in, open conversation and say, oh, it only goes up, you know, like it might be another.
That's
But my question again is like, who's gonna come to their summer getaways? These people have homes in the city, they're down by Barrie, et cetera, Toronto, they just want a quiet place to get away.
Mhm.
It's unreasonable to think, well, I'm gonna spend 60 grand, I'm gonna build a house here. And
Yeah, but
then-
they might not build a home, but if
Or
it's
a camp
a
or
trailer, why
whatever.
would they not do a camp?
'Cause they
Most
can-
of them talk about retirement
Mhm.
to the north, we're hearing it, we're hearing it
Yeah.
constantly, so why wouldn't they? What's holding them back from doing that? Like, why,
Yeah.
what's holding them back from having a nice,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Idea.
yeah. All you have to do is look at
Investing in
Muskoka.
it, in
Muskoka,
Muskokas. We're becoming.
they
a
have the
Muskoka.
bigger, yeah, they have big homes in Toronto and the
Yeah,
bigger
and they
centers.
have the-
And they come up and they build big cottages,
Yeah.
cottages
That aren't
that are,
cottages.
yeah.
That's not our
Right?
area though, what
But-
happens in the
but- yeah,
Muskokas is
but
different, you're
they're
talking like
moving this way,
millionaires
right?
that are going up
And
building
they're coming from the
$1 million
States.
cottages.
Cause we're
There's
seeing,
some from the
you know, we're
States,
seeing
too.
that happen though, we're seeing
Yeah.
people come up from,
Yeah.
we are becoming, they're full, so it's creeping up. The one
Mhm.
place listed on Malbooth Drive is listed at $850,000.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Nobody local's buying that, likely, no, I shouldn't say nobody local, but the odds are,
There's a couple people could.
there's,
Yeah.
so, you know, they really are, you know, the lodge owners, again, I don't wanna, you know, they're from, so there is a lot of, the vault in town, you know, is from the city, so I think we're so used to it as this being our backyard that we don't see it as, it is, where do you wanna go, they wanna come north, and they have a different financial spin on things than we do. We choke at the thought of $1,500 for rent for an apartment, which, like, literally, that's hard up here.
Yeah.
That's,
For them, that was
for,
cheap 10
for,
years ago.
if they have a home in the city that's luxurious, that's nothing. So I think there's a different culture, and now we're trying to marry the two of them and still make our area grow, because I think, like you said, a lot of them are from away. But if there's nothing for the people that are born and raised here, I'm not saying that you pick favoritism on locals, but it does have a bit of an impact, you know, like, and I know a few people, they wanna buy a piece of property and build, there's none they can buy, there's none for sale, unless you got 250,000 acres, well, I don't, or 250 acres,
Yeah.
it's either this big
Mhm.
or zero. So it's like, how do we help get the growth here in bite-sized, manageable, cost-effective ways for people that are either here and expanding, or they have a kid and then the kid wants to stay, that one severed, because they do have a child who wants to come
Yeah.
back. If they didn't sever, he can't come back, you know, he couldn't build either, so there's a lot of problems, and I think, like, you know, a $400 fee, as much as it, you know, it grinds against that, and it's seen as a money grab or whatever, the costs keep going up, we're seeing it everywhere. We know that there's that beautiful loophole, so we've gotta do something, cause you know, and then after taking that extensive water training today, I think we're going to be seeing cans of worms open, not by necessarily us going around poking, but by coming down the pipes above, learning about sewage setbacks, lake capacity, water capacity, and it's not inexpensive. Like, it's a heady cost, so maybe they could look at it as, what are your license fees doing? They're providing, you know, safety for everybody in the community in regards to consumable water. Cause all we need is one bad thing to occur with our water, and it's, you know, it's gonna be very costly.
So if they're paying toward safety for everybody in the community, for the safe water, shouldn't everybody be paying for it, cause it sounds like.
But everybody
we are.
is.
Right.
Everybody
some
else
extent.
is to some extent, they're paying zero, they're paying the lowest tax on a vacant piece of land as determined by MPAC. So my vacant land might cost me $300 because I have it this big, and your vacant lot costs you $800 because it's this big and it's a better quality of lot. Well, it's still equal in the sense of what it's been assessed for, which is out of our league and out of our hands. So, I mean, we can't argue property tax, because I don't think, like, we don't have as much influence in it as the public conceives, like, the public conception, like, we have some, but we don't have anything over MPAC. They own entity, they do what they want, like, they have their own thing. And I get, like, yeah, it's like the fees, people hate the fees, what am I getting? Everybody wants to get something. Well, we'll give you the 911 ticket, that's what you're getting. You are getting an identifier. Well, we should be honored to have that automatically. Why? We didn't have it 5 years. No, but you don't know, but there was some in the crowd, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, those things are not inexpensive, they're not free. So it's, you know, cover that cost, create the database. Oh, so now, you know what, you know, this office person we're adding to their plates too. Because the administration on the trailers isn't gonna be quick, easy, it's gonna have a lot of creation, and then after the training today, I know she's gonna have other stuff on her plate already, again. So, you know, we say $400, what is that a year? What is that per month for a year? I'm sorry, just because I'm a monthly person.
I don't know, $35.
So 400 divided by 12, so
Okay.
$33.33 a month, it's $1 a day.
$1 a day.
It's a Tim
Less
Hortons
than a
coffee.
They're not there
Less
for the
than
full year.
But they're not
for
there,
6 months.
they're not there for the full, they're there for 8 months, 6 months. But still, like, it's not, when you break it down, it's not crazy. Yeah, you may not be there, but we're not saying you can't go in, cause that one man with the snow machining, we're not saying we're gonna be out there hardcore hammering down, you were there on Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, like, we don't wanna have that, and the enforcement, I want us to have another meeting about that with the standards and to the power and the teeth, I think, that need to be given to him. But when you start to break it down to, it's $1 a day, and, you know, the salt, you know, like everything, the salt is used in winter, like, you're contributing so you can get to it next year, we've gotta take care of the road all year too, like, there's so many little things that, you know, it's not all easily seen or understood, and it's certainly a learning curve for, you know, this council, myself included.
We all got that email from the people on the River Road and sitting on the dock and human feces floating by. For $400, they get the peace of mind that you are controlling your sewage, your septic and your water, right?
Yeah.
So how many times how many times is acceptable?
It's not acceptable.
Okay,
But how do we
perfect.
prove that? How do we prove that, right? Where do we prove where that feces is coming from?
Well, we can't do
Well,
anything
I
about
can't
it
prove
right
that, right?
now.
And where's the complaint? Nobody's complaining about it, right?
Because they're in fear, that's why.
Well,
That's a pretty rough bunch at certain places there.
well,
and
what
it's
we had here the other night, we had one individual, everybody else is well respected.
Pretty much.
Yeah, just one person.
Yeah.
But how many times you gotta see it before you act on it?
I agree
I'm
with you,
just saying,
Cass,
you know?
what I'm saying, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, like, the one-time fee though, because we don't check camps every year and impose a fee to make sure that they're, and like I said, the one lady said they don't have indoor plumbing. Are we gonna go and check her and say, hey, this is no more than
But we
an
can
RV
have that
situation?
relief too.
And how is this gonna change the problem we have by throwing money at it, if we can't enforce it? So you mean to tell me they're gonna go out every day and make sure that, oh, this is in compliance, and we said the wheels are slow, and they are slow.
One step at a time.
Wow.
And that might help
Like I
with
said,
enforcement.
It's a complaint driven bylaw, so if you have
It
an
shouldn't be
issue,
complaint driven either, that's
Make
why
a
people
complaint.
come
Right
forward,
now
right?
it is, but if
No.
we change
Shouldn't
it,
be.
then it won't be.
You should go around.
that's what it is, that's what we gotta deal with,
Now
right?
the
That
deal
could be
comes
what
from
that
400
comes
to
Yeah.
400.
That's,
Then you have to put you have to hire somebody that's gonna go around and inspect our whole township,
yeah.
then your $400 fee is gonna be totally out to lunch.
400, we're
Somebody
gonna
else
pull
get
in $160,000 a year, that's not gonna cover that? $160,000 a year, 400 trailers,
But that's
400
gotta
bucks.
cover everything,
Well,
that's gotta cover the opposite.
You
Main Street.
actually
That's gotta
think the
cover
400 trailers will come forward to pay them.
Well, and so then it's like we talked about the one gentleman that was here, said, you know, we're the ones that are gonna get nailed, the visible ones.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are visible and a lot aren't visible.
Well, he's not gonna get nailed, he's gonna.
Well, he's
come
gonna be paying
forward.
the fee, but then within that group of RV owners on vacant land, we're penalizing some and not touching others, because a lot won't come forward. If they're in the middle of the bush, and I know some that are out in the middle of the bush,
Yeah, I
they're
know.
there,
We all know them.
So
we all know them,
yeah.
but we don't know them in a way, right?
Are you
some
gonna
of us-
report them? Are you gonna
I'm not
report
gonna
the ones?
report them.
Well, they're,
That's not my
neither
job
are
to
we.
report them.
No.
So then what I'm saying is that, so say if all of us around here and 5 of us are visible and the other group not visible, we're not gonna pay.
So here's the
Well-
thing, Mike, it's, all these bylaws that we have as a township are all for pretty much honest people.
Yes.
They're
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
come and abide by the bylaws,
Yeah.
cause we have to live here day after day for our lives.
Yeah.
And if
Right?
they're caught,
And this is the same kind of thing, the same kind of bylaw. And yeah, you pay a fee, there's a fee for any kind of administration. And if the building inspector's gonna go out and make sure whatever you said on your application is true,
Yeah.
then we have to pay him for that.
Is he going every year?
I don't know if he feels he has to.
Yeah.
No. Well, why would that, only if you're gonna make
Because you're
changes,
applying
right? That's what
every
you said,
year,
so he
right.
decides he's gonna build something, yeah, of course, it's no different than your house, right?
Mhm.
You pay a
But
building
that's not all
inspector,
he does,
he
Mike.
signs, oh, I know,
That's just on the side.
Correct. But what I'm saying, he doesn't go every year. I'm all about paying for what service you get. Like you said, we're getting the 911 number, we're getting this added service, yeah, you should pay for it.
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna spread that amongst all the taxpayers. And I think everybody with an RV home on a vacant land is good with that. They just don't want the annual fee, because it's like, you don't pay.
But you pay
For the
an
building
annual
inspector.
fee for your car, you pay
Oh,
an annual
that's,
fee.
well, we
for-
could say that, right? We pay weekly
We pay,
fees
I
on,
mean,
yes, we pay
We have
fees.
to, we have to maintain our roads year round to get there.
right,
They're paying
And that's
taxes
why-
to have the road maintained.
Deanne would like.
Just one point, so you're saying the license fee.
Yeah.
So kennels, once they're built, they don't make changes, but they still have to pay an annual license fee.
Mhm.
This is no different, sure, they put it there, but it's an annual license fee, because that's your regulatory, that's the point of being council, is having these regulatory bylaws, and that's the whole part and parcel of it. There's parts that are good, there's parts that are not good of anything that council does and tries to enforce. It's kind of the nature of the beast. So any licensing bylaw is usually an annual. Wrecking yards, we have wrecking yard license, we took 2 wrecking yards. We never go and inspect those, but they pay their annual license fee to exist. It's the same thing, and if you want to exist with your trailer, you pay an annual license to do that.
Like I said, I'm not in favor of that,
Okay.
but that's fine. And we can go on all night.
Yeah.
We can go on all night, 'cause you guys made the point, and everybody made the point, so. There's gonna be a lot of unhappy people, and I'm afraid we're gonna be chasing people off their property, and that's money that comes into the township, so, but.
So, 400 annual.
Yep.
Any other issues to discuss there?
Is there anything on the actual application that anyone's, has questions or has changes to make on the application itself?
Oh, on the,
Like the actual little, yeah, the fact that the short form wording, that, I think that's pretty much standard anywhere you go with the set fines. Any, I've looked at other municipalities, that's the standard set fine for any violation
but
on.
we need
on-
to
but-
specify that it's daily,
Yeah.
if indeed that's,
It's, yeah, it says
I
daily
think
in the
the-
bylaw, but it doesn't say it in here.
I think if you look at the provisions of the, Mitchell Fences Act, it probably says that there.
Of course, these are maximum fine, like, we're not talking because the person is away or whatever, and
Yeah.
they're away for 10 days, or,
These are the
Why
ones
not?
that don't wanna play ball.
yeah.
Yeah,
These are for the, so it gives us leverage.
like the gentleman that stood up and said, like, what if I'm not there to see that this is coming into the place? But I mean, if they're set up and they've been there and you go and you can tell they've been there for a month already,
And they're aware of
and
this.
everybody's aware of it, then,
Yeah.
you know.
And it comes down to that, those 2 words, may and shall. There's a lot of sections of the bylaw that say the township may,
Mhm.
Mhm.
they may charge, they
Doesn't
may
even
do,
have to.
but they not shall. So that's where that sort of,
it gives us discretion, exactly.
So, how much would the fee be for this year? It's gonna be,
So if we're gonna prorate it and it's past, so we'd say June, July, August, September, October, November, so that would be 6 of 8 months or 6 of 9 months.
Like half a year.
But it'd be so much per day,
Just
number of
do
days
it
left.
like half a year.
Like
Well,
four,
that's what
200,
200,
Yeah.
from now to.
For the 2020.
I mean, it's
For
8 months,
200.
almost 8 months.
but they've gotta get inspections and everything else, right?
Well, and again, it isn't gonna happen to everybody,
No.
but they need to come forward and comply. And eventually it will get done. If it doesn't get done this year, it'll get done next year.
And is that per trailer on a vacant lot?
Per trade.
Yeah.
Maximum 2.
So they're paying double for the service that they're getting for that one lot.
2 trailers, 2 families, double the usage.
Well, they can only live in one at a time.
Well, I know, but we're talking about road maintenance, I mean, what's the difference if there's one trailer up there or 2 trailers up there?
I think we should think of it more as a
Two
license fee
vehicles,
as a contribution to
Yeah.
the township's overall costs.
So if there's nothing else, this will come to vote on
Next one.
next Wednesday.
Well, can I just ask, so to get people informed that, what's the plan? Is it, like for me, like a mail out?
I think we need, more than, I think like a tax mail out.
Yeah.
Using the tax roll,
Yeah.
just send
Yeah.
to everybody,
Yeah.
rather than just, in the past, we've done flyers and trying to hit locally, so enough word of mouth would get
Yeah.
around. But something like this, I think, we
Mail out.
can do a mailing list.
Yeah.
How much does that cost?
Yeah,
81 cents a stamp?
Yeah.
that would be.
To do tax billing, we usually load, I wanna say $2,500 on the postage machine.
Yeah.
Somewhere around
I
there.
think it's well worth it. So
Yeah,
you
'Cause
get
when you're
everybody,
putting
so everybody
fill
will
up an
know.
envelope, so then that's
Yeah.
2,500 envelopes, yeah, roughly.
Yeah,
3,000.
we have to do that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
About
Okay.
3,000.
It's the only way we'll reach everybody.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So if there's nothing else, we have to go into closed session. So be it resolved, we go into closed session at 7:50 PM. Could I have a mover? Edie, second Harold, all in favor? Carried. Anything else?
I received a call today, and this goes back to what Mary Ann, was talking about. It was from Donnie Wilson.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of, what he said was the transport went through the lights on an amber. And he turned behind that transport, and another one blew the red, and was blowing the horn, gesturing at him. We have to do something about, people. Yesterday, transport, I was turning left, and a transport going westbound blew the red light. And I know that the transport's out of the Sioux, cause I saw the name on it. I won't mention who it was.
That's fine.
Yeah, but, and there's been transports that I was telling Bucky that, I was stopped for a red. The transport is local, not from Massey, but it's local area. He came from the east, he was looking down Imperial Street, and he drove right through the red, and I was stopped for the red. We have to address the traffic intersection at the lights. Whatever we do, whether it's gonna be cameras, whether it's gonna be flashing lights like Bucky says, but it's getting more and more.
The flashing lights will work on the western approach, but how do you have flashing lights in the middle of town? That's the catch.
Yeah.
That's, I agree with
The flashing lights, and I agree with you, the setup they have at
Fairbanks
Yeah, 'cause
turn
we
off
had issues there,
there,
and that
that
ended
works
it.
well, and that could work really well here,
Coming from the
again,
west.
coming from the west, but.
Did you,
How-
But
how
it
do we-
happens
how-
both ways.
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
yeah,
so,
how
yeah.
do we deal with
I
that?
don't know where you,
Yeah.
going the other way.
Could you not just place it on the other side of the bridge, as you did the west end of the bridge? I don't know, or is there?
Give 'em-
Another set of
They're a little
lights?
bit, they're a little bit far back,
How about a set
they
of
can't
lights?
be, they gotta be far enough back that they have time to.
Time.
Stop, right?
turning in here is hard.
Yeah.
It's.
From,
it
coming
can
from
be-
my way,
Yeah.
turning in here, cause it's like all of a sudden, the driveway's there and there's only that short little
Curve,
thingy.
Yeah.
And the transfer's coming up fast behind me, I'm always like, oh, I'm like putting my blinker on like way
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
So a set of lights there,
Yeah, I deliberately go through town.
turn
If,
around and
if I
come
know
back.
there's some,
I've done it
you know,
more
a
than
vehicle barreling behind, whether it's a transport or another vehicle,
Yeah.
barreling behind me and I see them
I don't know
coming.
what they're
As
I
basing
was
it
at
on.
my time
I
and
don't know
going
what
through
the
town to
answer
make
is
sure
to
they
that.
stop
And
and
especially
slow
with
down.
Clover Farms now, there's a lot of, you know, people going
Yeah.
across
Is
the
that
way,
a
it's busy there.
You know
Did you
what?
call, can
Yeah.
I just say, did you
Busy.
call on those transports? Did you call the companies and report them?
No.
Why not? I've called on the West Branch drivers, I call
Mhm.
on every truck driver.
Yeah,
Good.
Because I feel if I didn't and they wipe somebody out, and they're not, it's not that they don't care, but they're a big corporation and I think it's their responsibility to know about their, most of the things have
Mhm.
call if
Yeah.
my driver's acting like
Mhm.
an ass.
Yeah, good
Maybe
point.
we
I've
need to,
called on a company
maybe we
about
need
it.
to
Next
start
time I will.
reporting them. And if you know who the company is, and I did, and I called and I reported the drivers up anytime. I'm not a snitch, but I just don't have a problem with,
Well,
making them be accountable for their behaviors, and their responsibility is their employees' behaviors, and if they
So
don't,
it's-
and if they don't know, they can't fix it.
But we do
Maybe
have to
we-
do something.
Oh, we do have to do
Yeah,
something.
something more concrete.
What are the
Here's what we're looking at,
implications?
our speed zone in town here is 60 kilometers an hour, isn't it?
Yeah,
What's
that's,
Westwood?
that's.
Yeah, it's 70 right
Same.
here and then
Westwood.
60 on the other side of the bridge.
For most highway
So
towns.
what are the
Narren is
implications
too,
of putting in
isn't it?
another
60?
set of lights? Any idea what the cost would be? What
Yep.
the deal with MTO would be?
Well, they'd probably do a traffic study
Yeah.
before they would.
Because that'll definitely solve this.
what if we
That's
just
too much
lower the
Spanish has
interval?
done recently?
No,
Like Spanish, like before, remember, you used to go in and be like 60 once you got in, now it's way back,
Further back.
it's 70, then it goes
Mhm.
60, and then when you're exiting, it stays at 70 and then hits 90 on the way
so
out.
you're, yeah.
I don't know if that's it,
well, maybe we need to slow it down.
further
away.
back.
Well,
I still think
I
the
still-
flashing
we get
lights.
But
Yeah.
it might be the same
50,
repeat
I'd like to see
offenders,
50.
that's
I
just
think
why I
60 is too
asked,
fast.
like,
I
it
think-
could
I
be
think
those
60
same
is too
repeat
fast.
offenders that are
What's-
driving.
Good, what's the interval? Like, is it like 3 minutes going east-west and 30 seconds going north-south? It seems to be, they know if they're the same driver, that this is his route, right? He knows that
That's
he's
what
got
I'm
a long
saying.
green coming through.
Mhm.
That's what
Maybe
I'm saying,
we,
like, it might
do
be
we
the
have any
same.
control over how long the light stays red and green?
well, they aren't our lights, right? They're
No,
MTO's lights,
But
or
who-
they are lights.
I don't know, who puts the,
Timing.
that's right.
Yeah, they set the timing, they
Okay.
go and set the timing on them,
I just
because when they were messed up, sometimes they get messed up in the summer, and then that's not turning green for the cross traffic.
I
You
don't,
know, there's been some
Do we
long
need longer
lights
up
there,
there?
it's not triggering the lights, they
Do
come
we
and
need
they.
longer yellow light?
Adjust it, yeah.
I just think
Well, I just
accountability
wondered
too,
if they
cause if
blow
it is
through
the
them,
same
they see
drivers
yellow
or
light. Most of them
you know,
step
like
on
if
it,
it's
they
the
see
same
yellow light.
company doing it,
Go.
cause
I
it's
don't
their
know.
route and their drive.
I don't know that it's time. I think they're just hammering it.
Yeah,
I think
I
we need to
agree.
get- we need to get a
Yeah.
speed limit down in town.
Well, a
Then-
lot of them are 50.
I'd like to see 50.
Yeah, that is.
But, well, that,
That's what she said, she said it might see.
I
Yes,
don't know, I'm
yes,
not convinced
yeah.
transports are gonna respect
No,
that.
listen,
No, I think
No.
Blow
the
through
only
every
way
light.
is to
Yeah.
stop 'em.
If it was down, here's
I think-
something's, if it was down to 50, and then you had a light, like coming in the gutter,
Oh, well, those signs
Yep.
are.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Cutler's another good spot, cause that's
Because
70 all the
they
way
got
through.
some vehicles, I was in Ellie Lake yesterday, and when I come back, they had them right there at the light.
I've had transports pass me, like when you get into Cutler up the
Oh,
hill, you go
yeah,
down, they pass.
all the
Yeah,
time.
pass going up the
They
hill.
all
just,
the
they
time.
just
Like
don't adhere
We-
to it.
70
need
kilometers an hour.
Some kind of reminder you're speeding, and if we can get it down to 50.
Yeah, see, so we looked at, with the town of Espanola and the community safety and wellbeing, the clerk from Espanola had looked at, we're gonna get a couple of speed signs, but they're the ones they'll go out in the rural areas,
Mhm.
because
Right.
MTO, you need to apply for an encroachment permit, and they were something like, I think, like $2,500 for an encroachment
Yeah.
permit to put one on the highway, just like what Cutler has. Like that, the solar ones that
Well,
just
because
flash.
it's a reserve, they don't pay us.
So, and they're for just visual.
If you're at big houses and
So, yeah, I mean, it's doable, but then there's a cost to sign and that, if council wants to spend the money, it's something you can, if you feel it's.
License fees may cover it.
I think
It's
60
another way, it's whatever.
I think 60 is too
I
fast.
hate that everyone's picking on it, but
I agree.
there's always this other, now this has come up, now this
That's
has
right.
come up.
Like you said, they're gonna run the red at a lower speed.
Yeah, it doesn't, I
Yeah,
think it's
that's
still gonna
right.
run, and even having
Yeah.
a sign like they do in Cutler, like I said, I drive through there
Yeah.
4 times a week,
Yeah,
there's
the
still
things
people,
flashing.
cars and
Yeah.
trucks are passing.
Yeah.
You don't know what these
Try to
things
run you
do.
off the road. Okay?
Mary Ann?
Yeah, I think number one, enforcement, like how they
Yes.
do, having them sit there,
Agreed.
at each end of town or whatever.
They do it in Webwood.
Yeah, they do it in Espanola.
They do
It-
it
we
in
need
Webwood,
something
you've actually
here.
seen.
It's not for
Yeah.
speeding, it's not for
Yeah.
speeding.
That's good.
Yeah,
It's not for speeding.
I feel very certain.
Oh,
But
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no.
I've seen them in Cutler too, but
I
I've never
think
seen them
that's
in
what
Massey,
needs to be
like
done.
posted up trying to
No.
catch people speeding.
I think the warning lights are gonna have to, of course, it's gonna cost us money, but even get them to lower the speed
What do you
limit.
mean by warning lights, like on the way to,
Yeah.
Sudbury,
Fairbanks?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, that'll work.
But
On the
again, we're
western
back to
approach.
enforcement, right? The
Yeah.
guys are still gonna run the light.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to please report these drivers, because that's the only way it's gonna stop is,
Well, my fear
Which
is
way is
they're
that
still
somebody's
gonna-
gonna get hurt or killed.
Yeah,
Which way were these trucks going, you saw?
Both are headed west.
Oh, heading west.
I just, yeah,
Which means they're blowing it right through.
I think.
Well, you can see, I don't know which way
Yeah.
Donnie was, I would assume that Donnie turned right at the
Yeah.
lights, but
Mhm.
I'm just assuming that.
Yeah.
But he said he would turn behind the transport, and it was the one that blew the red, was the one that was gesturing and blowing on the horn.
I think we should lower the limit through Massey,
Mhm.
and then get on the OPP to do more enforcement. Because there's no sense of lowering the speed if they're not gonna come and enforce sometimes. And like, what
Yeah.
time of day is it? Like,
all times.
well,
All
what
times,
is
yeah.
it's probably worse after,
It's
the
all,
stores close maybe?
no, it's
or-
all times
yeah.
of day, it's whether, during the store hours, at 7 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon.
And they do set up the speed
Coming
thing
back
around
from
with
the
that
arena,
Mhm.
I've, heading north on
Yeah.
Imperial, be about a year ago or so. The light changed, turned red, the transport, I waited, cause I could see it barreling, and it went straight through,
Yeah.
and I laid on my horn, and he started to stop, and he stopped where the funeral home used to be.
Mm-hmm,
That's where he stopped,
yeah, so,
so, yeah.
but I think the first thing is we're gonna have to lower the speed.
I believe.
And
Well,
then-
and contact the.
Yeah, so,
And
there's a
make
new,
the OPP
attachment
work.
correct commander now, like,
Oh, yeah.
Lori
Well,
Ernie
that's
has
good.
gone, so Walsh is the
Yeah,
new detachment commander, and that's what I corresponded with today, so, I'll reach out to him and see if they can step up some,
like, are they aware of these
Yeah,
transports?
I
Well,
mean,
I don't know,
so
but they're not gonna become aware if they're not here patrolling.
That's right, exactly.
And we have firsthand witnesses of
Yes.
what goes on, so it's
Well, I've
not
seen it
like,
with my own eyes, yeah.
yeah. So like if they need, backup,
Well,
well,
and
they can
that's-
talk to two of
that's-
our counselors
That's
and
Massey
find out.
downtown, that's,
Yeah,
that's a disaster waiting to happen.
exactly. Yeah.
How fast do you think, well, you weren't there,
No.
how fast do you think they're going through town?
Doesn't matter
I
if,
can't,
stop.
Yeah.
Well, too fast,
Yeah,
definitely.
you can't stop.
But,
Grocery
but
store.
it's the kids that are coming from school and they
Right.
they're waiting for the walk sign, right?
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
So cause they're waiting for the walk sign, so
Yeah.
they step out and this guy's blowing red.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
You
it's
know,
a lot of the blowing.
How many
the
times?
lights.
Once is way too many times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I
Anyway,
will report next time, thank you, good. I did
maybe
not.
we should make
I
citizens
know who
aware,
it
like,
is.
please report these people if you see,
If you see it, call them on.
like,
sure,
we all have to take some onus for it. And I've called on people racing through
Yeah.
Walford, so I don't care, they're all my neighbors, but whatever. Of course, they don't get caught by the time the police get there, but at least I did my due diligence.
Well, we followed a drunk driver from Sudbury when I called it in, and by the time, well, took the snowbank,
Yeah,
and then she was hung up in the
Yeah.
snowbank. It turned out to be a mother with a child on board that was under the influence of drugs. It's like, and I mean, she's all over the road, and it's like, I kept my distance, we didn't have a license plate number, I didn't wanna get close.
yeah,
But it's like, I'm glad,
I mean,
I'm
we have
glad
to
it
take,
ended the way it did, because it's like
sad,
scary. But the transports, that's an issue, you know?
yeah,
It's not the cars, it's the trucks.
No,
Yeah.
it's the trucks, it's the trucks.
okay.
Someone gonna get hurt or killed, it's like,
They know they're doing it, it's not, they're just missing it, they know they're doing it.
Yeah.
no, I've seen them too, and I don't really.
So they're regulars on the route. Mhm.
Well, so, and moving forward with that, anything else, anyone? No. Be it resolved that the time is 8:55 PM and the meeting be adjourned till the next regular meeting or call of the chair. Mover? Marianne, second. Kaz, all in favor? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.